Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The OSCE Summit, a meeting of foreign ministers and representatives of the 57 member states of the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe, is underway in Łódź. The key topics of the Ministerial Council are the response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the future of the organisation. Our reporter, Paweł Błoch, was there.
Na posiedzenie Rady Ministrów Organizacji Bezpieczeństwa.
The meeting of the Council of Ministers of the Organization for Security and European Cooperation was attended by 200 delegates from 52 countries from around the world. The foreign minister of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, was not among them. The reason for his absence is Poland's intervention. Sergei Lavrov did not receive a visa, which is necessary to fly from Moscow to Łódź. Russia is represented by its ambassador to the OSCE, Aleksander Łukaszewicz. In his speech, President Andrzej Duda noted that Russia is a threat to the entire free world. It is impossible to move past the planned murder of civilians or the kidnapping of Ukrainian children who are then taken deep into Russia. I am afraid that the moment we start treating Russian bestiality as something normal, it will be tantamount to a victory for the idea of what is called the Ruski Mir, and that means brutality, aggression, war, poverty, and death. The chairman of the OSCE, and at the same time Poland's foreign minister, Zbigniew Rau, recalled that the Russians at the beginning of the war planned to occupy all of Ukraine within days. The plan did not work out, and the Russians began mass killings, such as in Bucha and Irpin. European Union Foreign Affairs head Josep Borrell said that the European Union will allocate more than €1 million to help demining Ukraine. He said that war criminals must be held accountable. The United States is represented by Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Victoria Nuland. The American politician was met by the head of the National Security Office, Jacek Siewiera. They discussed increasing sanctions on Russia. Dmytro Kuleba sounded the alarm that the Russians pose a threat not only to Ukraine, but to all of Europe. According to Ukraine's foreign minister, a tribunal that will hold the Russians accountable must be established as soon as possible. The OSCE, in its current form, has been operating since 1995. It includes European countries, but also the United States and some Asian countries such as Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. The function of the OSCE chairman rotates each year. This year, that role is held by Poland. Hence, the summit is taking place in Łódź. Next year, in 2023, the role of chairman will be held by North Macedonia.
Będzie pełniła Macedonia Północna. Paweł Błoch, Telewizja Republika.
MPs today dealt with the government's draft as what is known as the gas law. The Council of Ministers adopted the bill as a matter of urgency. It is intended to regulate gas prices for individual consumers. The bill proposes a shielding solution for the poorest. The opposition criticises the fact the bill plans to refund companies selling energy to offset their losses from selling at the frozen prices. In addition to frozen gas prices, households consuming gas for heating will be entitled to an additional VAT refund, but based on income criteria. For a single-person household, it will be 2,100 zloty, and for a multi-person household, it will be 1,500 zloty per person. VAT reimbursement will be settled at the local government level, and the application for reimbursement must be submitted within 30 days of receiving an invoice. If we believe that everyone should be helped, then everyone should be helped. If we believe that only the poorest should be helped, then we need to combine this with social assistance and not generate more positions in local government offices to handle such subsidies. The price of natural gas in the current tariffs is about 200 zloty per megawatt hour. Maintaining it in 2023 will guarantee that the increase in gas costs for consumers will not exceed this year's prices. This is a very important law for Poles because it freezes gas prices, especially for those Poles who are experiencing this crisis the most, that is, the poorest ones. That's why this law should come into force as soon as possible. Only households and individuals are to be beneficiaries of the law. Help for business is not included in the bill. I can't imagine how this bloodstream of the Polish economy, which is small entrepreneurs, can be treated in this way, because there are almost 2 million companies that feed the budget. This is a question of budget capacity. The budget is not made of rubber. It is not possible to propose for everyone those solutions that will lower the price. If budget possibilities allow, then we will try to help small and medium-sized businesses. It is difficult to predict the prices of traditional energy sources. That is why the Polish government wants to focus on renewable energy. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, during today's meeting of the Parliamentary Group on Renewable Energy, announced the acceleration of work on the windmill bill, commonly known as 10H. Today, when Ukraine was attacked by Russia, we know how important it is to use as little hydrocarbons as possible. And I think that this strongly connects us all of us sitting here. The more renewable sources of energy, the less we depend on coal, once Russian, now Colombian. The more we are independent from gas sources, from other hydrocarbons, so we need to develop this. We want to develop this, including our law liberalising the windmill law shows that we understand this. However, we don't want this to happen in a social conflict. Currently, a wind farm cannot be built within a distance of 10 times the height of the windmill from a residential building, the so-called 10H rule. Development and Technology Minister Valdemar Buda indicated that the windmill bill could be dealt with by the same at the next or upcoming session. Earlier today, European Council President Charles Michel said that he had urged China's President Xi Jinping to use his influence on Russia to press it to respect the United Nations Charter with regard to Ukraine. During the talks between the head of the European Council and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, apart from aggression against Ukraine, the issue of national minorities and the continuing protests sweeping through China were also discussed. The head of the institution, bringing together the leaders of the 27 EU member states, said she and he agreed that nuclear threats are not acceptable.
I urged President Xi, as we did at our EU-China summit in April, to use his influence on Russia to respect the UN Charter. Kremlin's attack on a sovereign nation blatantly violates international law. President Xi and I agreed that nuclear threats are not acceptable and highly dangerous and endanger the international community. President Xi, for instance, made very clear that China is not providing weapons to Russia. President Xi made very clear that the nuclear threat is not acceptable and is not responsible. This is, I think, an important message. And I sincerely hope that in the following weeks and months, all the international community, China included, will use all possible tools and instruments to advocate in order to convince the Kremlin and Russia to end the war and to respect the sovereignty of Ukraine. On the protests, yes, we discussed that question as well, and discussed the acceptance by the societies of measures that are taken and the reaction by the authorities. And I just told before that we've also agreed on the principle to resume the human rights dialogue. This is very important as a step, as a signal in order to, I hope, improve the level of dialogue between China and the EU on that important topic. And you know that for the EU, the right of assembly is an important fundamental right guaranteed.
Thousands of people gathered in New York's Manhattan for the 90th annual Christmas tree lighting at the Rockefeller Center, officially kicking off the US holiday season. The highlight of the night was the switching on of over 50,000 multicolored LED lights on a 14-ton spruce tree 25 meters tall.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.